Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a bracelet and a pair of earrings today, and I'm going to use some of the beads that came in the Adornable Elements Beads of the Month Clubs. I have a coupon code for the Beads of the Month Clubs. It's Teresa10, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with a link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you're interested. The coupon will save you 10% off the first month of whichever club or clubs you decide to sign up for. I know things look a little bit different than they usually do here. I usually have everything in the little clear trays, but the last video I did, the first clip where I went over my materials, just looked awful. It kept jumping around. I think the camera was having a hard time trying to decide what to focus on, and the rest of the video was not like that, so I thought maybe it was because of the little clear trays that caused it to do that. I don't know why. I've used them forever, ever since I've started making videos, so I don't know why it would suddenly start doing that, but I thought if I use my little ceramic tray here, it might not do that this time. So for both the bracelet and the earrings, I'll be using these pinch beads that I got in my most recent package from the Beads of the Month Clubs. It was the Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month Club, and the color is white amber. And then in here I've got some 6mm fire polished beads that I got in a previous fire polished Beads of the Month Club, and the color on these is golden lime, metallic golden lime. And then I've got a toggle clasp and 2 oval jump rings that came in one of my Findings companion packs. I've got a couple of wire guardians. Of course, this is what I'm using for the bracelet. For the earrings, I'm going to be using these same beads and one of the 2 of these, one for each earring, of course. Jet full amber teardrop beads. And then I have a couple of ear wires that came in one of my Findings companion packs, and a couple of wire guardians from my stash. For my seed beads, these are all Miyuki. For the bracelet, I'm going to be using these 8/0 white Ceylon and 11/0 Duracoat galvanized gold. For the earrings, I'll be using both of these, plus just a few 11/0 white Ceylon and 15/0 Duracoat galvanized gold, but not many of these at all. I've got a size 11 beading needle, and I'm going to be using my 8-pound fire line in crystal. Of course, I'll be using my scissors and my thread burner to cut and burn down my fire line, and my pliers to put my clasp on the bracelet and to put my earring on the ear wire when I get it made. I think that's everything. I'll try to find links and put links to everything I'm using that didn't come in the various subscriptions in the Findings companion pack in the description box below. So hold on, I'll get some of this out of the way and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads out here now. I've got my fire polish beads and my pinch beads, my 8/0 white Ceylon beads, and my 11/0 Duracoat galvanized gold seed beads. And I've got one of my wire guardians out here. I'm going to put my wire guardian on right away. And I've got my needle threaded, and I've got a stop bead on here, and I'm leaving about an 8-inch tail, enough to put a needle on and sew it in later when I'm done. So this is a really, really simple and easy bracelet. I'm going to pick up a pinch bead, and these pinch beads, have 3 sides. I guess I need to zoom in here, don't I? The pinch beads have 3 sides. One side is white and the other 2 sides are the golden color. I'm not going to try to worry about how I pick them up. I'm not going to try to keep like the white all on one side. It would be really hard to do that because naturally they're going to flip around. They're going to spin around on the thread, and it would be kind of hard to do that. And I'm okay with part of them having the white side up and part of them having the golden side up, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to pick up a pinch bead and an 8/0, and a pinch bead and an 8/0, and a pinch bead and an 8/0, and a pinch bead and an 8/0. So I've got 4 pinch beads and 4 8/0s. Now I'm going to go back through this first bead to turn these all into a circle. that. Now I'm going to sew around until I get back up here to where my stop bead is. Actually, I think I'll sew around it all and then back around to where my stop bead is. I want my first unit to be nice and tight here, so I'm going to sew around all of this and go past my stop bead. And then I'm going to sew around again until I come up to where my stop bead is. And I'm going to sew until I'm coming out of this pinch bead. Actually, no, I'm going to sew until I'm coming out of that 8/0. I've got to put my little fire polish bead in the middle. I'm going to come out the 8/0 here. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0, my fire polish bead, and an 11/0. I'm coming out of the bottom of this 8/0. I'm going to go to the opposite 8/0 and go into the opposite side, so the top of that 8/0. I'm going to lay my 6mm bead over top there, so it's in the center of my little unit that I'm making. Now I'm going to go back through this 11/0, the fire polish bead, and the 11/0. And then I'm going to go into the other side of the 8/0 that I started in. And that was the wrong. I need to go on this side of the 8/0. So that's my first little unit. Now I'm going to move my stop bead out of the way here. And I'm going to sew around all this again. I'm going to sew back up here to where my stop bead is. And I'm going to come out just this pinch bead here. Now I'm going to pick up 2 11/0s, one of my 8/0s, and my wire guardian. Go into one channel of my wire guardian. Now I'm going to go down the other channel of my wire guardian and back into my 8/0. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more 11/0s. And I'm going to go down into this pinch bead. Put my wire guardian on like that. Now I'm going to sew around all this again. Go into the 8/0 and the pinch bead. The 8/0 and the pinch bead. The 8/0 and the pinch bead. Now I'm going to go around all this again. So I'm going to go back into these 2 11/0s, the 8/0. Back around my wire guardian. Back into the 8/0. I'm going to go down the other two 11/0s on the other side. Now I'm going to sew back around all this again. So I'm going to sew around all of this again and go back up here and go back around this one more time. And then when I come back, I'll be coming out of this 11/0 down here so that I can make my next unit. So I'll be back. Okay, I finished putting my wire guardian on and sewed around it another time. And I'm back down here. I watched that clip as I was finishing this, and I said that I was going to be coming back out of this 11/0 down here, but this is obviously an 8/0, not an 11/0. So I'm coming out of this 8/0 here. So now I'm going to make my next unit. And each of my units is going to have 4 pinch beads and 4 8/0s. I've already got one of my 8/0s. So I only need 3 8/0s this time and 4 pinch beads. So I'm going to pick up a pinch bead, an 8/0, a pinch bead, an 8/0, a pinch bead, an 8/0, and a pinch bead. I'm coming out of the bottom of this 8/0. I'm going to go on the top of it. I'm going to sew around all that again. And try to keep my thread pulled tight so that I don't see a lot of thread. Go back into that 8/0 that my connecting 8/0 there. Now I'm going to sew until I'm coming out of this 8/0 down here. Now I'm going to put my 6mm fire polish bead in the middle. So I'm going to pick up an 11/0, fire polish bead, and an 11/0. Coming out of the top of this 8/0, I'm going to go in the bottom of this 8/0. Pull it over the top like that. Now I'm going to go back into my 11/0. Fire polish bead and the 11/0, and then I'm going to go into the other side of this 8/0. That's my second unit. Now I'll do one more and then I'll do the rest of them off camera. So I've already got one of my 8/0s, so I need a pinch bead, an 8/0, pinch bead, 8/0, pinch bead, 8/0, and a pinch bead. I'm coming out of the top of that 8/0. I'm going to go on the bottom of it. I'm going to sew around all this again. Back into my connecting 8/0. I'm going to sew till I'm coming out of this 8/0 down here at the end. Now I'm going to pick up a 11/0 fire polish bead and an 11/0. I'm coming out of the top of this 8/0. I'm going to go on the bottom of this 8/0. Pull my fire polish bead into place there. Now I'm going to go back into the 11/0 fire polish bead and the 11/0. Pull everything tight. Go into the opposite side of the one I started in this 8/0. So that's 3 of my units. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get the length that I want. And then I'll put the wire guardian on the other side just like I did this one. And then I'll go ahead and put my clasp on. And when I get back, we'll see what I've got. Now my earring is just going to be one of these units with the drop on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of these. After I get my bracelet made, I'm going to make one of these units. Go ahead and make it so that y'all don't have to wait while I do that, since I've already done 3 here. I'm going to make one of these units, and then whenever I get back, all I'll have to do is just add the drop on the bottom and the wire guardian on the top. So when I get all that done, I'll be back. Okay, I've got my bracelet finished now. It's really easy. It worked up really quickly. Up here so you can see it better. This pretty little toggle clasp that came in my bindings companion pack. And now I'm going to make my little earring. And I've already got one of my little units made here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put I've got my 11/0 white seal-on beads and my 15/0 gold drop that I'm going to put on here in my wire guardian. So I'm going to put this on the same way I did the wire guardian. I'm going to put it on the same way I did the bracelet, except I'm using 15/0s and 11/0s instead of 11/0s and 8/0s. So I'm going to pick up I think I'll pick up 3 15/0s for this. 1 11/0. I'm coming out of this pinch bead here. I'll pick up 3 15/0s and 1 11/0 in my wire guardian. Go back down the other channel of my wire guardian and back into the 11/0. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15/0s. And I'm going to go down into this pinch bead here. Like I'm coming out of this pinch bead, I'm going into this pinch bead. Put my wire guardian on like that. Now I'm going to sew down here so I can put my drop on. So I'm going to go into this 8/0 and this pinch bead and this 8/0. No, just the pinch bead. Now I'm going to pick up 3 15/0s, and I've got an 8/0 in there by mistake. 3 15/0s, 1 white 11/0, and 4 15/0s. And I'm going to go into my drop. bead. Now I'm going to pick up 4 more 15 O's. And I'm going to go back into this white 11-0 here. Pull my thread through. Now I'm going to hold on to my teardrop bead and pull the slack out of my thread like that. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15 O's. And I started coming out of this pinch bead. I'm going to go into this pinch bead. Put my drop on like that. Now I'm going to go and sew around this where my wire guardian is again. So I'm going to go into this 8-0 in the pinch bead. I'm going to go on up those 3 15 O's and the 11-0. Make sure I didn't miss any. Make sure not to get caught around my drop bead down here. Now I'm going to go around my wire guardian. Back into my 11-0. I'm going to go down the 3 15 O's on this other side here and on into that pinch bead. And I'm going to go into this 8-0 in the pinch bead. And now I'm going to go back around all this again. I'm going to go into these 3 15 O's and the 11-0. I go down the 4 15 O's. Into the drop bead. Back up these 4 15 O's and into the 11-0. Back in these 3 15 O's on the other side and on up into that pinch bead. So that's my little earring. Now I'm going to go around here and tie 3 half-hitch knots. I'll tie one right here. Then I'll go into this pinch bead, this 8-0, this pinch bead, I'm going to tie another half-hitch knot right here. And I'm going to go into this 8-0, and I think 2 half-hitch knots is enough for an earring, so I'm going to cut my thread off, leave a little bit of a tail that I can burn down with my thread burner. I'm just going to put my ear wire on here. open it up and thread my earring on. Close it back. Pretty little ear wire that I got in one of my Findings companion packs. So there's my little earring. So hold on, I'll make the other one off camera, and then when I come back I'll have it all laid out so we can look at all of it. So I'll be back. Okay, there's my bracelet and pair of earrings made with some of the beads that I have gotten from the Adornable Elements Beads of the Month clubs and some of the findings from their Findings companion packs. They have 6 different clubs that you can choose from. If you want to just get one type of bead, you can subscribe to one of their clubs. Like if you really like fire polish beads, you could subscribe to their Fire Polish Beads of the Month club and you would get that type of bead every month. But they also have the Rotating Beads of the Month club, which is the one that I get. And in that club, they rotate you through all 6 clubs 1 month at a time. And that way you get a different type of bead each month. And I really enjoy that because I'm able to build up a good stash of all different kinds of beads and then pull from different clubs whenever I want to make something like this. Like I said, that coupon code will save you 10% off the first month of whatever club or clubs you decide to sign up for. And if you sign up for the Rotating Beads of the Month club and you use my code, they'll put you on the same rotation that I'm on, which means you'll get the same collection of beads that I do every month. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.